Hello guys, Nugi here, and in today's video we're gonna briefly look over sockets, item levels, and links in gear. So in Path of Exile, we don't have the traditional system where whenever you level up, you gain the access of a skill that you can then level, like say you put 1 point in Ice Bolt and now you can always cast Ice Bolt. In Path of Exile you get skill gems, which is gonna be your active skills, your main skills. So as you can see here we have Heavy Strike. I can decide to put on my Heavy Strike in a piece of gear that I'm currently wearing, and this will allow me to use the gem. Good. One thing some new players think is that you have to socket it in your weapon if you wanted to use it. If you want to use the skill in your weapon, this does not matter. You can put it in a pair of gloves and you can still use your Heavy Strike. It doesn't have to be in the weapon. So with that out of the way, let's look at the colors of the gems. We have the red, the blue, and the green. These will determine which type of gem in general that you will be putting them in. Red is for strength, green is for dexterity, and blue is for intelligence. So as you can see here, my Heavy Strike is a red gem. When I look at a slightly higher level one, as you can see over here, this has a much higher strength requirement as it levels up. The blue one has an int requirement. There are some gems that will have hybrid requirements, so they will have a lower requirement of both, but then they will have like requirements of 2. So we see here strength and dex for spectral throw. So these are the types of gems that you would face. There are active gems and there are support gems. The way this works is that your active gems only needs 1 socket. But however, if you would like to link these, so if you would like to augment your active skill gem with, say, endurance charge and melee stun, well, you would have to link them. And what is a link? A link you can see here is a connection between 2 sockets. You see here, this is not linked at all. We could use a fusing on it. Bam! Now we have a 3 linked right here, so we could add a green and 2 reds to this specific setup. So we could have a support gem here and a support gem here. Adding 2 active skill gems won't really do anything. Then you just have 2 active skill gems. They won't augment each other, but say if you put in a support gem right here, it would then augment both of them, if possible. You could also have 2 support gems here, and then they would augment the 1 attack. So you'd have a 3 link is what we call it. So the purpose of linking and the reason why this is important to know that we can add support gems to our active skills is that support gems is one of the key factors in optimizing a character and optimizing a strength of a given skill. Let's say you have a projectile based spell and you put greater multiple projectiles on it. You could then split this spell into an additional 5 or an additional 4, giving you 5 total. So you could see the spectral throw here could get an additional 4 projectiles, meaning that whenever you would cast your spectral throw, it would come out in 5. This is very nice because you can spread out a spell or an attack, augmenting your skill to making it sometimes gaining 2 to 3 times the amount of damage with GMP here, for instance. As you can see, you gain or you lose 50% of the damage, but you get an additional 4, meaning that you have 5 times the damage. This is 2.5 times the damage if put on for, say, a spell. Right here in this case with spectral throw, attacks do not gain the same kind of benefit because an attack cannot overlap it. Like you can't shotgun, you can't hit with multiple attacks from the GMP, so you would only be able to hit with 1 of them, but it would increase the spread of the attack, so that's good. In order to get these colors, something you need to be aware about. The stats on your item will determine the likelihood of the colors. What this means is that if your item has, say, a high dex requirement, it will spawn green sockets. If this, for instance, had high strength or int requirements, it would spawn red or blue sockets. As you can see here, this has 3 red because it has high strength requirement. The likelihood, if I'm gonna chrome this, that it's gonna hit red and blue is much higher than me hitting a green. So let's try here, red, red, blue. As you can see, this will keep happening as you use chromatics on them. So also when you're venturing out and you're trying to recolor your gear, to make it so that you can use your gems that you would like, and you would like to add the correct types of supports. What you need to be aware of is that if you have, let's say, a pair of gloves that are dex based and you are a strength based character and you would like to add some strength supports, getting this to say 4 reds would be nearly impossible. And it's very important to know so you don't waste all your chromatics. So the likelihood of a color is based on the amount of the stats that are currently in them. So if you have, say, 100 strength, 100 in, it's even less likely that you're gonna hit the green one. If you have 200 strength, it's very unlikely that you hit green and blues. Good stuff. The amount of sockets as well is something that's based on something called item level. So item level is something that's based on the zone that you're currently in, where the item will drop. As you can see here, starting zone is monster level 1, then coast is monster level 2, and as you progress forward, these zones will increase in level as you increase in level. This means that white monsters from a Twilight Strand will drop you level 1 items, magic monsters, the blue ones, will drop you level 2 items, and the rare ones and boss types will drop you level 3 items. What this does for the item is that the amount of sockets that is currently able to spawn will determine how many sockets there can be on them. So let me show you here. So you can see here, if you're in a level 1 or 2 zone, the maximum amount of sockets you could ever get on the item is 2. But wait a minute, didn't I get this with 3 sockets? The starting weapon is very unique. It is the only weapon in the game that will break these rules. Every other item will abide by this rule set here, that number of sockets 3 at 15, 4 at 28, 5 at 35, and 6 at 50. This also means that your vendors will be able to spawn 6 sockets at level 50. That's good to know. The amount of links you can get in a certain item also depends on the amount of sockets you have on them. If there are 4 sockets, it can be 4 linked. One thing I want to note here is that, or I want to say is, any 5 socket chest, if you spam click the fusings, sadly the one I used before, the fusing here that made these, it will never break when you hit 5. If it has 6 sockets, it will never break if you have 6. However, on 4 links, it will break. Because they had it so, they implemented it so that it wouldn't break anymore. And then players were annoyed because sometimes you actually want 3 links and then a single unlinked one. If you want to have an active skill gem that's not getting supported by some of the others, giving it higher mana cost or some other unwanted property. So a 4 link can be broken, so you do not want to spam click your fusings. Another good thing to know. The last thing I want to show you is how do I then tell what item level my item is. You can do this, you can hold, you can pick up your item, and then you can do the item level command here. This is a level 30. As you can see, 28 would give us 4 sockets, so this abides by the rules. If this had been 25, I would only have been able to get 3 sockets. The plate vest is 2, so this cannot break into more. As you can also see here, item already has the maximum number of sockets. The same here. This item here, however, 51, this can be all the way up to a 6 socket. We could put a few fusings in it, as you can see here, completely random. The amount of sockets that you get, getting the 6 socket is very unlikely. Getting the 5 is fairly likely. Getting 4 is anything from 1 to 4 is easy to get. 5 is quite manageable, and 6 is fairly unlikely. People with a lot of currency later on will, however, go for the 6 socket because it holds so much more value and potential for the links that you would like to get. And that concludes today's video about sockets, item levels, and links. I hope you guys learned something, and I'll see you guys next time.